Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. Believe it or not, I'm doing another baby girl journal flip through. This one is for Paige Noreen. And in case this is the first time you're hearing it, I was commissioned to do 3 baby books, and they all happen to be little girls that were born into the same office staff. So, and I've been at this for a couple of months now, and now the chickens are coming home to roost, and the shower party's been scheduled, so it's done. I'm sorry. So all 3 journals were made out of a baby quilt. A baby quilt. And so, as I said in the last flip through, this style of quilting, obviously poses a few challenges in terms of decorating the cover. But I did something similar with the first book, and I thought that it looked pretty cute. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, again, a fiber tassel, and I actually did a video on how I made that, so you might want to check for that if you're interested in tassel making. It does have some beads attached to it. Anyway, a little sort of cutout frame, baby photo, yo-yo, oversized button. And in this case, I used this hot pink tool to do a closure. And of course, the way that works is by putting obviously an eyelet here and just knotting it. And frankly, I think it sort of simplifies matters when there was so much texture going on here. If I would have done a wrap and a tassel, and it just seemed like a good solution. Okay, let's get to it. Now, similar, again, I didn't want all 3 books to be identical because I'm sure the 3 mothers and the 3 babies are not identical. I had been given a bit of a brief on each, family. So I tried to inject that personal element and make the book similar enough that everyone would feel that their baby was, the most important, and no one got, preferential treatment or anything. And different enough that they would realize that they're all individuals. Common elements are this. This was a sheer, I guess, curtain, and I just fussy cut around the design and glued it down to the inside cover. So this is obviously soft and cushy. That's a design choice. If I would have decided to firm it up with adding cardstock, scrapbooking paper, or something like that, it would have turned out to be a different book. A lace pocket, and I just hung a little punch out with a little tiny verse about babies from a bulb pin. Common elements are this little poem about about a baby book, about this journal, and some additional ledger paper. Now in this case, the mother, maybe they're both accountants. I guess they're both accountants. And this little kid, Paige, is now a little sister to an older girl. The mother likes baking, the father likes the Oilers and curling. And I searched high and low for my playing cards with a curling rock and the house from, the game of curling, and I cannot find it. So I had to make do with hockey stuff. This is just a folded back piece of scrap paper, and I've added these button stickers, which, the colors work perfectly. Ledger. I had some of these chipboard frames, and this one said What did it say? I guess I did such a good job of disguising it, I can't even read that anymore. So I just used a sticker that said beautiful. It was in a color I didn't like, so I just darkened it. I added some pen marks just to make it match sort of the polka dots around, added a bit of lace, left it open here, thinking that, you know, they will have a photo to put in there. Oh, am I missing? You know what? It's only when you start talking through this that you realize something is missing. Well, we'll see if it's missing. It's the little, well, all I have to do is remember to look for it after the video. It's the little photo frame. Like I know when I had my babies, but of course that was a long time ago. Some kind of a photographer, that's before everyone had a cell phone. A photographer came along, took a picture of your kid, your newborn, and then of course they sold it to you a day or so later in a little, you know, cardboard frame. And that's exactly what I had. Somewhere along the way in a thrift store, I found a package of brand new ones. Anyway, we'll see if it's in here, and if it's not, I will hunt it down. Same fabric flip, same idea with a sketched baby. Here, again, this was out of that book with that, oh dear, am I going to remember her name? Maybe it's obvious on this, oh no. Anyway, she's Bessie, that did all the calendars way back in the day and a lot of baby illustrations. So I just zhuzhed up this page with these pastel looking stickers. On this is the other side of that page, obviously, and I used a little paper doily, one of my little girl stickers that I always cut closer because I hate all that white around. And then I just put another little verse in here. Left this alone because, you know, maybe a person wants to read that. This is part of another baby book and with lots of writing space. Now, this is very wavy, which doesn't exactly please me. That's a vellum sticker that says baby. Again, I wanted to preserve the quote. I wanted to help secure the sticker, and that's why I put these two pieces of ribbon, top and bottom. But, yeah, it is a bit wavy. Little punched, or not punched, stamped baby booties on fabric and a rickrack sticker. I used this vintage photo and just a sentiment deer. Here I used one of the little handprints out of Ideals magazine and this little kid and her teddy bear out of a kid's reader. Now, because this child is the second little girl, I had a book about being, you know, the big sister. So I took a signature out. Now, if I would have, I guess if I would have planned ahead, it would have been good to have sewn this in. Otherwise, and I mean, that would have allowed the other side of this page to be visible. But I didn't obviously do that, so I glued down the page that I thought was least important in this scenario, added some picot satin along the edge, had to fold this in because it's a little too wide, and I couldn't afford to make it any narrower. And then on the other side it says, the baby is so little, too little to walk, too little to talk, too little to play with toys, too little to eat pizza or apples or ice cream. So I thought, you know, depending on the age of this older child, she might get more entertainment out of this book in the beginning than the new baby would. This is just a little envelope that I had sewn in. I used these two stickers, Cutie Patootie. Fussy Cut the Doll, just added a bit of this sheer pink fabric. And inside, is this the same kid? Yeah. This was just like the title page or part of the title page, so I put that in here as well. Now this is obviously baby gift wrap, and I had sewn it in around so that it becomes a top-loading pocket. So this was one of the pieces of hockey stuff. This came out of a vintage Oilers program from the 80s, and it just gives all the signals for refereeing. When my son was playing hockey, he would have been, I don't know how old he would have been, maybe 14 or so. He got hurt in a game and had his clavicle, his collarbone broken. And of course, had to wear a splint, and his mama had to help him dress and all of that. Anyway, in order not to lose a season, you know, and not, and stop skating, like come to a dead stop with the skating, he took the referee's course and did some reffing that season. Anyway, so I had to drill him on all the different moves, so that's why I still know them now. Anyway, this was very pastel paper, so I just kind of prettied it up a bit with some of these little stickers. I know you've seen them before. They're these little ball-headed kids. I used a little girl, or I guess maybe that's a doll, charm, and P for Paige. Oh, and on this side, in this pocket, because the mother is a baker, I just found a vintage recipe for a cake, and it had this cute border of faces, you know, family members. And I fussy cut some of these images and just sort of arranged them around the recipe. I mean, she could probably use that recipe if she wanted to. I think I didn't cover up anything vital. Now this, I can't remember what this was, but I just covered this with this polka dotted paper, added this journaling card. Again, this has been, well, I've cut loose in terms of mixing colors, mixing patterns, you know, polka dots and stripes, and it's been a lot of fun from that perspective, because otherwise, if I was doing a journal for an adult, it would be, dare I say, a more sophisticated color scheme. But this way I could let my hair down and make it a little more fun. So this is just a family tree from one of the baby books that I have. So I just folded it so that, in fact, they could use it. And I only had this one. So it seemed like maybe in this case, given that there's an older sibling already, maybe it'll be a little more fun to fill out. This is just a little cute little heading here. And again, I reproduced a page out of this Woolworth's, I guess it was a baby book, and it was also selling, you know, stuff that could be found in their store. I eventually found this image from a book, and it's a mother and daughter baking. So I thought, okay, that's good. And on this side, they are, I guess the mother is hemming that dress or something, or fitting that dress. And I just used these little blocks that say cherish. Just a mother and child, a little, I was going to say thumb sucker, but apparently not. She managed to get 2 fingers in there. And, you know, who hasn't seen that pose before? This is the other, okay, Bessie. I want to say Gutman, but what's that other little symbol? I don't know. That's if that's not right, it's very close to the pronunciation. On this one, I used one of those colorful frames. It happened to work perfectly around this little goodnight thing. And then I just used a bunch of stickers with some sentiments, you know, with different, all these little plush toys having a little snooze-a-runo. So I thought that one turned out quite fun. You've seen this in the past journal. I added a little kind of a raised sticker there. included a copy of the 10 Commandments, the child's 10 Commandments, and this page out of, a baby shower pad or whatever you want to call it, booklet. Okay, on this side, I cut this yoke out of a baby or a book on, I guess, sewing for the family or something. I had backed it, not knowing what it would be, excuse me, or how I would use it. Too wide to be a pocket. I thought of her wraparound around the edge of a page, but then I just chose to turn it into a pocket instead. And here are a couple of vintage images. Again, the common thing being big sister, new baby, big sister, new baby. So hopefully they understand this, appreciate the significance of that. And seems to me there was a smudge over here that I couldn't get rid of, so naturally we cover it with a sticker. Oh, see all the little corners I've cut off there. I need to give the book a good shake so everything loose falls out of it. Same paper. I love that pattern. I have this lovely punch, and I used it on a page out of a book with very cute illustrations. So I made a double pocket out of it. So here's just a journaling card that you get in with a paper pad. I attached a sticker there. This, of course, the way I glued it down just in a U makes it a double pocket. And here is just some, the border off some off a 12 by 12. And I just added a couple of gingham hearts because that guy was wearing gingham overalls. Some little handprints there. Here now, well, I don't know. Should I tell you the whole story? Over here, I had done this fold like I did in the other book. And because this is directional, this works out very well. But the page is also, it was wider, and this part was over here. However, it was also upside down. Now, I thought it was more important to have this right side up, so then I decided I didn't like that being upside down, so I tore it off and I used it here. Now, there is still, these three images are still upside down, but again, if you take it off, and I put a bead on that paper clip, if you take it off, obviously it's right side up, so I don't know. I just stuck this card. This was also a punch out that I backed with some lined paper. By getting rid of that fold, because I had folded back about 1.5 inches or so, it's also easier access in and out of this pocket. Okay, here I just used a sticker. This is like the fold over, because I had made 3 of them. The fold over that we saw in the last flip through. It essentially just attaches to, whatever page you want. I'd made pockets using lace and another lace. This is a vintage diaper pin. I just pinned it on there. I had this little cute black and white. This was out of, I think it was a German photography book. And the whole book was about children. So I just found one that I thought would work here. Added some ribbon and a sticker there just to add a little interest. And on this side, again, ribbon, lace. And this was a card. Not sure what the base was here, but I just used this plaid paper was the end paper out of a kid's book that I took apart. Oh, this paper itself came out of, was like a title page or something from a book. So I just added a few stickers, a few fussy cuts to make it look, well, to do a collage, and used a glittery I'm pretty sure I got these whale tail punches from Carrie, the paper monkey, and have finally started to use them. Okay, so we clip this back on. And again, I probably wouldn't clip it on, except this cardstock that I attached to is pretty narrow. They're pretty well the same size, so I just thought that little bit of help was needed. Now, this is obviously very cute paper. You know, it's about all those girly things like stilettos and makeup and lipstick and brushes and jewelry and everything else that little girls grow up to, will typically grow up to love. I use 2 brads here. One is a purse, the other one is a butterfly that says girly. Now, of course, we know that brads have those, you know, the little metal legs behind. So I just used a tiny little vocabulary word to cover that up. This is out of an old book, and I thought there's probably some good advice there, so I didn't cover any of that up. This is also out of a baby book, and of course, you know, this sort of represents the hospital scene. Here's a father and mother. It's probably, I don't know, getting ready for bath time or something. This was really cute paper, and I just used it to cover the back of this bingo card. Now, when I bound these books together, I had quite a few pages, and this is one of them, where I had folded things in such a way that I just had basically a little stub of paper here. You know, like one side of the folio was a full-sized, you know, normal-sized piece, and then the other side was maybe an inch or an inch and a half. So I added the baby shower bingo card because it's cute. But then I had the other side of that little flap to cover, so I covered it with that. I'd also use this rubber ducky gift wrap. So I had these, a number of these sort of thrifted, I guess, journaling cards or whatever, and found one that matched well, and then I just set out to find all the little rubber ducks I could. So, you know, some of these are stickers, some are cut out of that paper. This is out of this is off, I don't know what this is. This might have come from a different bingo card. And then this is a little vellum duck there too. So I thought that was pretty cute. Now, I used a cookie vocabulary card because the mother loves to bake. And so I fussy cut these cookie cutters out. And I see this guy needs a little dab. Let me do that right now. Oh, and in typical fashion, you know, we can say to ourselves, or we can convince ourselves that a journal is complete. But in my experience, as long as it's still on the premises, it's fair game to having things added. So on the last flip through that I did, that was the one with the ballerina mother, I found a couple more ballerina things, so I put those in. And then when I was going through, for the umpteenth time, was going through some stuff here, I came across some confetti. So I made 3 of these very primitive looking shaker cards. And all I used was a little printed bag, stapled it shut so there are no incidents, and then covered, you know, kind of that staple area with this washi, metallic-y washi. Anyway, so back to the cookie. So I put the cookie cutters on there, a bit of ribbon at the top just for a dash of color because, of course, it was very white. This is just another quote, and I tuck this in here. And, of course, I added that to the first journal as well. Now, just before I turned on the camera, I had another one of those, you know, 1.5-inch kind of things. So I had part of a growth chart. So again, it's just a bit of interest, you know, kind of showing, across the top is age, and then whatever week it is, week of life. And this would have been, I guess this would have been baby's length, maybe. Or is it pounds? I can't remember. Like, it was a whole sheet. I just used this cutout from a book, again, for a bit of color and to cover up some of that paper. I used a typewriter key type charm there, and then family for the other string. This is obviously out of a Victorian type book. And, oh, I should cover that up. I covered the other side up with something. Oh, I covered the other side up with that. This is one of those crazy, like, wonky envelopes. You know, Natasha from Treasure Books does these. Anyway, I found this one, and this is, of course, is Ideals, with these two sisters sharing like a Tetra thing of milk. So I thought, well, sisters. Now it is almost too wide. So I have a, you know, a full size or a larger paper clip holding it in, just with a bit of, you know, scrappy lace there. Oh, I didn't put anything in there. I'd better remember that. Okay, so I need to find the baby frame and need to put something in there. Well, that's not too bad. So far, I have fewer things to do here than I in the last journal. I added more handprints here. I left this intact and just folded it over because, you know, the verse is good. It's from 1880. And, of course, again, it looks like a sister and a baby. And then, of course, this is, you know, a number of children reading, and they've got their dolls there and the dog. Didn't do anything to the other side of the duck paper. This is, and who among us hasn't had that feeling where you give your finger to a baby, and of course they have that automatic reflex, that gripping motion. So that is just beautiful on its own. This is the other side of that same page. Here, again, on one of those little inch or so flaps, I added this journaling card. Oh, and this, of course, is using some vintage imagery from, well, I did a masterboard and then cut a bunch of pieces up. And I think I probably did a video on that. Anyway, so, you know, a person can just, it's just a splash of color. And of course, it's obvious that it came from a children's book. So again, I had part of something showing here. Oh, somebody in a white coat and hand in a pocket. So I used a bit of scrapbooking paper to disguise some of that, as well as I used up three more of these little kids that I'd fussy cut around. I'd had these fabric page tabs forever and a day, so I decided that each book was getting one of these. Again, this is out of that old book. I don't know, did your dad always put on a suit and your mother well, she looks like she's wearing a suit too for story time. I don't remember that part. Again, the other side of that paper. This is just some cardstock that had been folded in that way, so I used it to my advantage. And used one of my little Royal Doulton fussy cuts on this snippet. So that's all room for writing. Here, I just added a lace scrap, kind of scrunched it up, added a pretty button with embroidery thread, a tab, and a sentiment. Okay, now here was the same issue with this paper. What is under here was all upside down, and it bothered me, so I covered it up with this strip with the buttons. And of course, the buttons have repeated themselves a couple of times through this book. I had done some journaling cards way back when. This was wrapping paper, and of course, I had embellished it with a few additional things, and that goes in there. This was a title page from a book, I Loved You Before You Were Born. And I think it was written from the perspective of the grandmother, but you would never know. I mean, this could apply to anybody, the mother, the father, the big sister, whatever. These are vintage Oilers cards. I don't know what year they had the uniform featuring the derrick worker, oil derrick worker, but you know, the man of the house will probably know when. And this was way back in the glory days of the 80s, you know, Gretzky, Curry, Coffey, Anderson, Messier, and Krushelnyski. So I just backed this. It was, you know, kind of records that have been set because, of course, that team became a dynasty and won the Stanley Cup, I think 5 years out of 6. And again, I just used part of that Winnie the Pooh board book as a, you know, to say that this could be a writing board. So it is evident that I have to find I have to put something in here, and I have to find the little oval frame thingamajig and put that, I could put that in a pocket as well. So I hope that you have enjoyed that. In the comments, I finally caught up with replying to comments the other day. I noticed, or Pam Vanny said that she was just finishing a baby boy book, and Terry, you know, one of my favorite subscribers, is working on a, sorry, I'm just rifling through some of these bags of stuff that I sorted. Terry is making a journal to give to her niece, who they just found out is going to have a baby. A baby as opposed to a puppy. No, who is having a baby boy is what I meant to say. Surely those must be somewhere near here. I still have so much stuff. Well, mind you, I have one more journal to go. I arranged to deliver the baby books, all 3 of them. I said I would deliver them on July 2nd, the date of the party, or party. So, sorry, I shouldn't be keeping you here while I'm looking, but you know, I hate to let you go. Just hate to let you go. I don't know where in the world I stuck those. I have a couple more of those crazy envelopes. So I guess, see, I could still, this is a big, big piece of paper. I could refold this, but then I'll have that crease. Because this is also going to, oh, that's way too big. Or does it fit better this way? That's way too big. Maybe I'll end up using this in the next book. Anyway, okay, when I find the missing object, I don't know about you, but somebody should clock how much time some of us spend looking for lost items every day of the week. Because it adds up, baby. It adds up. Anyway. Okay, thank you so much for being here. I will continue to search, That's my middle name, after all. Continue to search for some items that are that I need to add to this one. And I will be doing, believe it or not, I will be doing some photography of these journals and actually maybe doing an Instagram post for a change. Can you imagine? It's almost like I believe in social media or something. Anyway, still can't find them. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye.